What's up everyone, it's week 10 in the Big Brother house and the Cookout are going to war. The nominations have been made and we are here to talk all about it. We've got so much to talk about, so welcome to your live feed update. Alright folks, now right before we get started, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as hitting the like button and the bell icon to get notified every single time a brand new upload goes live on the channel. I would appreciate anyone's support that I can. We are on the road to 10k now, which seems crazy. 10,000 subscribers. Just saying that out loud seems just crazy to me. I can't thank each and every one of you enough for the support you've given me so far, but let's get to 10k, folks. I'm so excited for it, but please hit the subscribe button and the like button as well to help me out with the algorithm. The YouTube algorithm is something crazy that not many people understand, and it's very difficult to understand and navigate it, but I know one thing for sure, hitting that like button really helps me out, so folks, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. Alright folks, let's jump right into the nomination ceremony. It went exactly as we expected it to go. So Kyland, the HOH, decided to nominate Hannah and Tiffany alongside each other for eviction this week. Now of course, yesterday we were talking about how whoever is left on the block by the end of the week is going to be evicted. And I still think that's the case, and if the nominees do stay the same, it's going to be Tiffany heading out the door. It's an uphill battle for both of them because they are very tight, of course, and it's likely they are going to lose each other this week. It's been a difficult couple of weeks for Tiffany, having to lose Claire, and then, you know, straight after she's either going to lose herself, go on the jury house, or she's going to lose Hannah. Now, Hannah, it's going to be tough for her to lose Tiffany if she goes, but one thing's for sure, Hannah is in a really good position moving forwards because people trust her and she has put herself into a great position, and she is kind of the, let's call her the apprentice of Tiffany. So, you know, if she can get to the final two, she could definitely make a good case, you know, and I'm sure Tiffany will fight for her as much as probably Claire would on the jury. And of course, she's got Derek X there as well, so she's got a lot of friends in the jury house that will fight for her to win the game. So all Hannah has to do is get to the final two after this week. There's not much to it, and you know, whilst there's maybe a couple of people here that would beat her out, I would say X will definitely beat her out. Kyland, she could make a case against, and she could definitely win against Big D or Arza. So Hannah, all she has to do is get to the final two, and she, you know what, I would even go as far to say she could potentially make a case against X. It will be difficult, but she could do it. Either way, folks, Hannah needs to get to the final two, and she will stand a good chance at winning the game. But of course, not all hope is lost for Hannah. She may come off the block this week if somebody was to win the veto, because Kyland and X were having a conversation, and X was saying that if he wins the veto this week, he might take Hannah off just to build some trust. And Kyland seemed okay with that, you know, because they have an F2, Kyland and X, but I feel like Kyland knows X needs to go for him to win the game. I feel like he's not blind to that, but he's kind of going along with this week, you know, building trust with X, you know, by letting X do that, you know. So that'll be interesting to see if that actually comes through. Because, listen, like Claire said in her eviction speech, this is X's game to win at this point. And if people don't get rid of him, he's going to win the game. He is going to win the game. I need to emphasize that one more time. X will win the game. He has played very well. And I'll say it once more, he will win the damn game. They need to take him out, take out the threat. Like last year, nobody took out Cody for some weird ass reason. They just let him go week after week after week. It's like, yeah, let's just take out David instead of Cody. Let's take out Kevin instead of Cody. Let's take out, I don't know, Enzo. You know, listen, I mean, Enzo didn't even go out, you know. Listen, Enzo rightfully made it to the final two as the person who didn't make the right moves. It should have been a case in which Enzo needed to make the move to take somebody like Enzo to the final two to actually win the game. But of course not. They just let it's like they laid out the red carpet for Cody and said, hey Cody, come on down, there's a path to the final two for you here. Nobody's going to do anything to stop you from getting there. That's exactly what happened last year, and it will happen again with X this year if people don't make the move. But Kyland is switched on. He even said, I could be the dumbest player in Big Brother history if I keep X around this week, then he takes me out next week. And X probably will do that next week. If X comes into power next week and Tiffany's gone, you know, X's arch nemesis is gone. So he will probably try and go for Kyland, because guess what? Who is X most likely going to lose against? It's probably Kyland. And listen, he can beat Hannah in a comp, he can beat Big D in a comp, and he can beat Arza in a comp. So guess what? It makes logical sense to get rid of Kyland next week if X is the HOH. So people need to get to stepping and realise, get X out the house. Tiffany, Hannah and Derek F, Big D were sat around the kitchen table, and they were discussing the Cookout's mission. Now, of course, this is a celebratory moment, as we discussed yesterday. Awesome stuff. We're going to get our first black winner of Big Brother. Fantastic. However, what is the interesting part is the fact that Big D seems to be claiming the responsibility and taking credit for the Cookout's plan, which we all know is not true. That plan belongs to Tiffany. She created the Cookout, and she created the duos plan of people sitting next to one another on the block, and taking out each of the plus ones of the people in the Cookout. And Big D was claiming credit. He was taking credit and saying that it was his idea and his problem. And problem, sorry, not the right word to use, but like if there was a problem there, Big D was the person to resolve it, that sort of stuff, because he was the one who created the plan, which, of course, like we said, is not true. Tiffany, of course, kept her mouth shut. Great stuff, because you don't want to ignite a fire and try and... I mean, listen, you're going to piss someone off if you say it's not your idea. Big D's obviously totally in over his head, and he really, really thinks that he's created this plan. I mean, you must be really, really deep, like, in over your head if you are literally... I mean, I hate to use the word, but it's deluded. It's deluded to literally think you created something that you had no part in creating. You were hired to be part of the group, but you weren't the person who created the group, and you weren't the person who came up with the plan. That was Tiffany. But well done for Tiffany for keeping her mouth shut there, because it would only create more hassle for her and pit Big D against her even more. But of course, we all know as viewers, and when it gets down to the jury roundtable and the final two questioning, it'll all come to light that Tiffany was the mastermind behind it. Whether or not she'll be there in the end or not, I think it's fair that we give Tiffany credit for creating that plan. Because why is it fair for giving her credit? Because guess what? She's the one who made it. Some great positive attitude from Tiffany we got after she had been nominated. She was, it's just great to see people not lying down. Like I always talk about last year, how the All-Stars just, these guys are supposed to be All-Stars and they didn't do anything. At least these guys this year are actually playing like All-Stars. Tiffany was basically saying, look, I'm not giving up. I might be on the block, but I'm not giving up. I'm not going to quit because I don't do that. She will give it her all. She's saying, I'm going to win the veto. I'm going to try to win the veto. And if I'm meant to be here after this week, then I'll stay. But if I'm not, I'm not. But either way, I'm not giving up, and I'm going to keep trying. Thank you, Tiffany. And I've said it to every single person, pretty much so far, that has been on the block and found themselves almost certainly going out the door. Thank you, thank you, thank you for continuing to hustle and not lying down. We saw last year with the BB22 cast, Kevin, you are nominated. This person, you are nominated, or whoever. Kevin's always the person that comes to my mind because he was the one who always complained and moaned the most when he was literally the person who sent out Janelle and Kesa and Nicole Anthony, and it really annoyed me because Kevin to me was, I get it. I mean, there was a lot of dominant gameplay and probably pre-game alliances last year, which wasn't. It destroys the integrity of the game, which I don't like. However, in terms of gameplay only, Kevin, I just could not stand for them. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but just gameplay, I just hated how he sunk the ship of every single person who had his back. It's like, when someone's drowning in the water and someone comes to save you, and you push that person's head underwater to save yourself. That's what Kevin was like, because Janelle was in his corner, Kesa was in his corner, Keisha was in his corner, Nicole Anthony was in his corner, all these people, and he just... Every single time, he was, in a situation in which he could have combated as a group against the big Cody, Memphis, Danny Alliance. He just ran to them and slagged off all these people. I don't know if you guys say slagged off in America. It's like kind of bitching about someone. He just went up to the HOH and bitched about all those people who had his back, and then they went down on the ship, and Kevin stayed. But guess what? It secured Kevin not a high placement. I'm pretty sure he maybe got 8th or 9th or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I just I wasn't impressed with Kevin's gameplay at all, and he was the kind of guy who, when he would be on the block, and then he had nobody left because he sent Janelle out the door, he sent Kesa out the door, he sent all these people out the door. He just mope and moan and, oh, Cody's doing all this. You brought this on yourself, Kevin, because guess what? You scummed over your allies and you didn't do anything. That's the kind of gameplay that I hated to see last year. But thank the Lord, we haven't got any of this year. We've got people who realise, they are likely going out the door. I'll name some. We got Christian, we got Derek X, we got Sarah Beth, we got Claire. These people are all realising that they are heading out the door. But guess what? They're not lying down, and including Tiffany this week. They're not lying down and saying, I'm going to try and win the veto, and even if I don't, I'm going to still try and campaign. I'm going to hustle, because guess what? Not everybody gets the chance of Big Brother, so I'm here right now, and I'm going to try my damn best to stay in this house. I want to take a quick moment to talk about a little highlight of mine that I really enjoyed. I'm taking a moment to talk about this because there isn't an awful lot to talk about in regards to the updates today. It's kind of, as it gets down to the wire and there's not that many house guests left, the game talk gets less and less and less. So let's talk about this for a moment. Claire's eviction interview. She was doing some post-season interviews and she was talking about why she didn't give the house guest hugs on her way out the house. And I love this because it gave proper old school Big Brother vibe. She said, I didn't hug anyone when I went out the house because hugging has become such a fake thing in this game. It's become this thing where, you know, people have just literally sent me out the house and then I'm expected to hug them. Claire was just like, nope, that's not going to happen. Why should I hug you guys when you've literally just taken my dream away from me of winning the game? She's not like pissed off at them or anything. She's not annoyed, but I just loved her honesty there. That was just brilliant. You know, it was proper old school vibes where, you know, if you were pissed at someone, you'd walk out the house and you wouldn't go, oh, give me a hug. Oh, I'm going to pretend to really like you. Thank you, Claire, for not being fake. I appreciate that. And I think more people should take a leaf from Claire's book. Because you see these people campaigning all week and crying that they're going to have to leave the house, and then they hug everyone on the way out. Listen, why would you want to hug someone who's literally just taking your dream away from them? Claire is right. Give them hugs on finale night. You don't need to go, thank you for evicting me. You are literally thanking someone for doing that to you. And I get the idea of you can be civilized, but listen, Claire's right. Civilized is often fake. People try to be civilized, and in the process of doing so, it's been fake. Yeah, I can guarantee, you know, whilst probably 80% of you guys wouldn't admit it, okay, we'll say 50%. 50% of you guys wouldn't admit it. I can guarantee that a lot of you wouldn't want to give hugs on the way out. I know for a fact that if I was pissed off at people, I wouldn't want to give hugs. If I felt there was a battle back situation, maybe I would, because that's then I'm being fake for the game. But if I didn't, I'd say thanks for my time in the house and I'd take off, because guess what? I'm not going to stick around, just like Claire wouldn't, and be fake and give hugs. No hard feelings, but no hugs. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below of this week so far. There wasn't an awful lot to talk about today because it was kind of just the nominations happened. And with Kyland, when he's the HOH, it's kind of a lot of nothing. Whilst it seems like the talks go on and on and on and on, there's not much substance to the talks. It's something that could be talked about in 5 minutes, but he drags it over 5 hours. Exaggeration there, but many hours. So, you know, there's stuff to talk about, but not an awful lot. I'm sure, you know, it's going to be a case of every single time there's a ceremony for that matter, or a competition, that's when we're going to have the most talk for the rest of the game. So that should be interesting to see where things go. But folks, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this week in the comment section below. Are you happy that Kyland is the HOH again? Do you think he's made the right decision in nominating Tiffany and Hannah for eviction? And who would you like to see evicted from the Big Brother house this week? Folks, I'll say as I always do, make sure you're staying safe, staying positive and staying healthy out there, and be kind to one another. Alright, but folks, in the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host Tom Vasey. Good night.